Just days before the Iowa caucuses, Hillary Clinton and Senator Bernie Sanders have renewed a rivalry that dates back to the 2016 campaign. At issue, Sanders' decision to delay publicly supporting Clinton after he lost the Democratic primaries. In a new interview, Clinton accuses her former opponent of not doing enough to unify the party, which may have cost her the White House. Now Sanders claims he will work to support whomever wins the nomination in order to defeat President Trump. Listen.
Let me say this so there is no misunderstanding, and I believe I speak for all of the other Democrats competing in this primary. Certainly, I hope that we're going to win. But if we do not win, we will support the winner, and I know that every other candidate will do the same. We are united in understanding that we must defeat Donald Trump.
The Clinton-Sanders divide seems to extend beyond the two former campaign rivals. Key Sanders surrogate Congressman Rashida Tlaib encouraged attendees at a rally to continue booing after Clinton's name was brought up.
Last week, when someone by the name of Hillary Clinton said that we're not going to boo, we're classy here. We're classy.
I'll boo. Boo. You all know I can't be quiet. No, we're going to boo. That's all right. The haters will shut up on Monday when we win.
She has since said she regrets allowing Clinton's comments to get the best of her, but another surrogate, filmmaker Michael Moore, is also taking aim at Clinton, saying her comments about Sanders are divisive. He joins me now. He's also the host of the podcast Rumble with Michael Moore. Michael, what's the point of this fight?
No point. The only thing we should be talking about is the fact that Donald Trump is throwing this coming month 700,000 Americans off food stamps. That's the issue. The issue is that when you graduate from college at age 22, you're thrown into a virtual debtor's prison for the next 20 or 30 years of your life trying to pay off these student loans. That's the issue. That's why Bernie is number one in the polls here, because people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're tired of being threatened when they get sick, when they have to go to the hospital, that they may lose their home still, that they will go bankrupt, as they do every year. This is what is really at issue. I've traveled this state for the last 12 days, back and forth, places like Storm Lake and Fort Dodge and Marshalltown, and people stand up and they say to Bernie or to me or to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I just got my wages garnished because I couldn't afford to pay the hospital bill. And they start crying. And Bernie or AOC, they have to go down and talk to these individuals privately to give them some comfort. I crisscross the state. I see Flint, Michigan everywhere. The struggle to try to get by from week to week.
You and I talk about it a lot, Michael. You and I talk about these issues about poverty, about structural poverty, about health care, about all these things that can be fixed, about a minimum wage that some people still earn of $7.25. But here's my question. You got 6 million followers on Twitter. Bernie Sanders has more than that. Is the fear valid that there is a break in the Democratic Party that may be being encouraged by some Bernie Sanders people? And can you end that now? Can you sit there and say that you will not use your social media power and your media power to diminish anybody else if they take the lead?
I can say what Bernie has said, which is what we've all said from the beginning, that whoever is the Democratic nominee, we're going to get out there and actively fight for that person to get elected on November 3rd. This divisiveness has not occurred from Bernie. Bernie has all been about unity about this whole time, as he was back in 2016. That is a false story that we don't need to get into today.
Roger McNamee makes a different point, right? He says maybe and they're being played. Maybe you guys are being played. Maybe there are other forces at play who are doing that.
Well, then I'll tell you, if anybody's being played, they're being. This started, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, when our former presidential candidate not only said nobody likes him, and that she would not commit to supporting him if he was the nominee. And then a week later, Joe Biden makes the same statement that he would not commit if Bernie was the nominee to supporting him. Once they said that they would not support the Democratic nominee, they were on the Trump bandwagon. They will say that they aren't, but when you say you won't support the Democratic nominee, at that point, who are you really for? What they're worried about, what the old school Democratic elite, the corporate Democrats, what they're worried about is that there's a new way now, and there's young people behind this. And there have been approximately 15 million 17-year-olds in the last 4 years that have turned 18. And they are massively behind change. If we go back to the old way, the corporate Democrats, who are just 1% of the party, if we let them take over again, look what they've done this weekend.
So let me ask you
Two things. They've changed let me finish. They've changed the rules to let Bloomberg on the stage. They let him buy his way on the stage. He doesn't have to show any support. They've changed the rules that they forced Julian Castro and Cory Booker to play by.
Okay.
They got eliminated, but Bloomberg gets to come on.
Let me ask you this. I got 30 seconds left, and then I'll run out of showtime. But let me ask you this. How do you assure
DNC
people...
members are meeting this weekend trying to decide how can we stop Bernie Sanders?
How do we assure Americans who are worried that Bernie Sanders...
And they're very worried.
How do you assure people who are worried that Bernie Sanders will take us in a direction that's economically dangerous? How do you say it? Because you and I have discussed all these issues, right? And we've discussed what Medicare looks like for all. We've discussed what a higher minimum wage looks like. We've discussed what climate right.
You know what?
How do you assure people that Bernie Sanders isn't going to take what some people think is a road too far?
Bernie Sanders has already said he's going to support the Democratic nominee. It's Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden who said they don't know if they will support what people should be afraid of is voting for somebody who took us to the Iraq War. What people should be afraid of is people who take money from Goldman Sachs, these corporate Democrats. That's what they should be worried about. That's what they are worried about. That's why Bernie's the front runner. And we are going to keep talking about the issues. Yeah. The issues are Donald Trump, beating Donald Trump, and stopping this madness of people going bankrupt because they went to college.
Okay, you've got the last word on this one.
They got sick.
Michael,
that's what we're about.
Thank you, my friend. Good to see you, and I appreciate you getting out because I know you were out partying with something called Vampire Weekend late last night, so appreciate that you got yourself in front of the camera. Filmmaker and Bernie Sanders surrogate Michael Moore from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. You can listen to his Rumble podcast.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.